I've never had a product be so good yet so frustrating at the same time. This is the Delux M800DB, and this is probably the most conflicted I've been about a mouse so far. So if you're wondering why I'm having such strong opinions about this mouse, here's the quick breakdown. Starting off with the main thing this mouse is known for, which is essentially being a cheap Viper Mini wireless, at least until Razer decides to give us the real thing. This mouse isn't actually as small as the Viper Mini, and it feels like it's leaning more towards the size and shape of the regular sized Viper. It's not as big as that mouse, but there is definitely a noticeable difference in size when you compare it to the Viper Mini. So if shape is one of the most important factors of a mouse for you, and you have small hands, just know that this mouse isn't as small as some people are making it out to be. Second, the entire wireless aspect of this mouse. Is this mouse wireless? Yes, but how good is that wireless connection? That's where the issue I have with it is. Out of all the wireless mice that I've tried, whether they're for gaming or not, I've never had an issue with the wireless receiver not connecting to my mouse, especially considering that my PC is on the same desk as the mouse that I'm using. Now originally I thought this was a sensor issue, but when I plugged the mouse in using the wired USB Type-C cable that comes with the mouse, I never had any of the issues I was having when using it wirelessly, like stuttering and jitteriness when I'm playing games or just using it on the desktop. So I changed the position of the receiver, and it turns out that the receiver just has to be very, and I mean very close to the mouse that you're using. I have a USB hub right under my monitor, and when I moved it right under my monitor, right next to the mouse, it began to work wirelessly. I tried updating the firmware, restarting the mouse, unplugging and replugging the dongle, restarting my PC, re-downloading the software, and a ton of other things to troubleshoot this issue, but it turns out that it's just the receiver having a very short wireless connection. So just keep this in mind. You'll probably have to have some sort of USB hub, or you'll need to move your PC really close to your mouse to get it to have a stable connection. One pro of this mouse is that it charges and is wired through a USB Type-C cable. The bad news is that the cable, while being a paracord type of cable, gets tangled easily and gets caught under the mouse a lot. I think part of this is because the cable isn't angled upwards to prevent the cable from easily sliding under the mouse, but also the quality of the paracord just isn't that great. If you end up swapping the cable out with a W paracords cable, or really any aftermarket quality paracord, then this could help out, but keep in mind this is meant to be a budget mouse, and having to upgrade it to get it to fix an issue that shouldn't be there in the first place really doesn't help its value proposition. Also, the feet, while they do give it a good glide, I would highly recommend you try to pick up some core pads, which are going to help this thing glide a whole lot better. The stock mouse skates aren't made from 100% PTFE material, so aftermarket skates would really help in that area. Next, the build quality of this mouse is actually great. This is one of the highlights of this mouse, and what really made me like it after having to deal with connection issues and average cable and average skates. There is almost no creaking or flexing anywhere on this mouse, and any creaking that you would get isn't anything that would show up in actual usage of this mouse. The side buttons are positioned really great, just above where my thumb would rest, and it's pretty symmetrical with the buttons being near the middle of the mouse. The mouse 1 and 2 switches are KLGM 4.0 switches, which are known to give you a more tactile and firm click, and these feel really nice on this mouse. It actually surprised me that they went with these switches considering the price, but damn, they are really good. The scroll wheel has a gummy rubberized texture to it with small steps and is solid all around. No rattling or wobble to it. Sensor is the PAW3335 sensor. As far as any issues I've had with the sensor itself, I don't think that I've had any unless the sensor contributed to the stuttering I was getting, but like I said, I think that had to do much more with the receiver, since when I used this mouse wired, I never had any issues with stuttering, lag, spin out, or disconnections. If you want software, there is some available to download that lets you change all the usual DPI, polling rate, and RGB effect stuff. However, there weren't any LOD adjustments, at least not that I could find, with either the firmware or through shortcuts using the hardware on the mouse, so just keep that in mind. The coating on this mouse itself, despite the mouse being sturdy, doesn't feel premium and actually feels kind of cheap. It's hard to explain this, but it's just like the material they used here isn't bad, but it just feels bad, and it feels like this is where they cut some corners, despite being solid overall. So here are my final thoughts on the Delux M800DB. This is probably the closest thing that we're gonna get to a Razer Viper Mini wireless until Razer actually makes the Viper Mini wireless. And keep in mind, this is only a $50 mouse, and I'm almost certain when Razer drops this mouse, it's going to be around the $80 to $120 price range. The wireless features of this mouse do work, but you might need a workaround like having a USB hub or some sort of way to move the receiver closer to your mouse. The stock cable and skates on this mouse should be replaced if you plan on making this your main, and keep in mind that any money you spend upgrading the stock features of this mouse is money you could be putting towards an upgraded mouse or a better wireless mouse that already has those stock cable and feed upgraded. The build quality, while it is good, doesn't feel premium, even though it does have good internals to make sure that this mouse doesn't break easily. But with all that being said, it still has that amazing Viper or Viper Mini shape, and it is still a wireless mouse that comes in at only $45. I think if you're willing to put some work in to make this mouse better for you, then this could be a solid pickup. But to be transparent with you guys, this probably won't be seeing any more daylight on my main gaming setup, and I'll be going back to my Hottie S wireless and Pulsefire Haze combo. Like always, I will have a link to purchase this mouse down below in the description. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure that you guys give it a like, since it really does help with the channel. And if you're new here, I make all types of content on gaming tech, so if you're interested in this type of content, please consider checking out the channel and subscribing. And like always, you guys are awesome. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.